Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the pop culture cosmos. Yeah, Josh and I, just before we went on the air, were talking about all the wonderful places and things that in social media, including Facebook. Don't get me started there. But it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching us. We truly appreciate you joining us. But it wouldn't be a pop culture cosmos without my good friend. He is the mastermind behind the Happy Hoarder. He is the mastermind behind, along with Brank, the Super BS Games Cast, and Humanican Media. Humanican Media as well. It is, of course, my good friend. It is Josh the Great Peterson. Back to Josh the Great Peterson. What's up, man?
What's up, man? It's been a few weeks since we've convened on here. Just life has been getting busy, but how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. We're kind of like in a lull for some things, although right now the Oscars are going on as we speak. So if I get any good juicy tidbits out there in regards to live updates on some major categories, I'll announce it during the show. Otherwise, you guys can go ahead and catch it on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook if they'll allow me to. But yeah, doing okay, my friend. It's just, again, I feel like this is a lull outside of the Oscars, like a lull right now. I will tell you, my friend, I know you and I wanted to cover some things before we talk about our regular subjects, and Severance, man. Um, I'm telling you, you're missing out. It is now, in less than 2 full seasons, the most popular show or entity ever on Apple TV Plus. It has wiped out the records of Ted Lasso in all 3 seasons, man. It is.
So the second season is holding up to the legacy of the first one.
It's actually garnering more audience, a larger audience than the first one did, the first season did. And it is just mysterious. It is just as crazy. It is just off the wall. It's just fantastic, man. It's just absolutely Ben Stiller can now die happy, my friend, because Ben Stiller has helped create a juggernaut.
Yeah, I still gotta watch it. I know you're telling me about it. I don't know. I gotta just sit. Every time I sit down now to watch something, I fall asleep. So like I gotta like in the middle of the day, I just gotta sit there and watch it.
Because it leaves you on a cliffhanger almost every episode, Josh, it's one of those shows, it's a water cooler show. It's one of those shows like Lost back in the day or Breaking Bad or whatever, one of those iconic shows that you see that's like your Monday at morning at work, you're going, "Hey, did you see that?"
Yeah.
And then you're trying to break down to your friends all the conspiracy theories and ideas about what is actually happening to the characters, and you're theorizing what you're going to see next. And the thing is, all these theories that go out there, it's so funny how Severance just says, "Oh, you're going right, we're going to go left," as far as everything is that's concerned. It's mind-blowingly good. And it, man, I do have a limit, though. I'm not going to call it one of the greatest shows of all time until it gets through a 3rd season. But right
Okay.
now, it's well on its way.
All right. I gotta watch. How many seasons do you think it's going to be running?
The creator Dan Harmon, who a lot of this comes from, he's talked about he already has an ending in mind. I would probably say 3 to 5. The standard streaming stuff, they don't go like 10, 12 seasons, or usually they won't intend to go 10, 12 seasons. Most of them, like for instance, Stranger Things is ending in season 5. Cobra
Yep.
Kai, that ended 6, because those kids were turning 50 that would start out in high school. Yeah, it's basically at this point in time, I'd probably say 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know. There's just, I don't know how much storytelling they want to do, and because it does so much storytelling in each and every episode, so they might just blow it up and finish it off after 3. But Andor, it's funny because Andor and Severance are similar, because Andor was very well received in its first season, but it is so expensive to make
Yeah.
that Star Wars just said after the 2nd season. Severance the cost is reportedly up $200 million. Up to
I mean,
$200 million.
that's like pretty standard for TV nowadays, though. I mean, especially like the stuff on like Apple and Netflix and things like that. So I guess the hope is that you'd see that return in subscriptions from people, just like you're doing right now, like talking it up, and get people to get on there and watch it. But it's funny. I was reading something the other day, and they're talking about like when Xbox Games Pass, right? Like when is a service like Games Pass going to reach a point where there really is just no more people to subscribe to it? And I'm thinking like, yeah, that's the same thing with Apple Plus and Netflix. Like, when are we going to get to that point where there are no more people left to subscribe to these services? Then what happens to that business model?
I agree. And it's funny because in recent weeks, since Severance has debuted, The Gorge, which was a movie with and Anya Taylor-Joy, and also as well Mythic Quest, both came out. New season for Mythic Quest and The Gorge, both came out. They couldn't even crack Severance. That's how popular Severance is right now. They could not even crack Severance's popularity debuting. So that just tells you how crazy it is right now for Severance. But I know you wanted to.
Xbox Games Studio. Sorry, I meant no offense, man. It's just something I was reading. All right, I hope we don't hit that point either, because I love Game Pass.
Yes, but he's a great fan of Xbox, absolutely. But yeah, thank you for that. Had this Atari shirt for a while, but yeah, got to catch Severance, my friend. Got to catch Severance indeed. But you had some things you wanted to go ahead and touch on before we get into the crux of our show.
Okay, two things here. One, what did you think about the Jurassic Park trailer? I'm on the fence about it. I don't know how optimistic I am. I meant to call you after it came out to ask you about it, but everything, it was like, oh, it might be okay until I saw the Rancor.
I'm just gonna say this. The Chris Pratt ones were okay. I mean, for me, Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, Jurassic, that whole thing has not been something after the first one. The first one as being it's someone who derived some of his background in special effects. Wow, that's amazing. Absolutely. But after that, I told you Jurassic Park for me was a glorified slasher movie, which it is. By the way, Steven Spielberg, still one of the best horror directors you didn't know was a horror director of all time, but just saying. After that, they became pretty derivative for me, to be honest with you.
Well,
but this one looks cut and dry derivative. This one just does not look good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even you're talking about the Chris Pratt ones, right? Like the shock factor of like, oh my gosh, there's dinosaurs, it's gone, right? Like what do you do? Like the second to last Jurassic Park was pretty close to like Alien, right? Like you're talking about Steven Spielberg, that going into a horror movie. So we're looking at this new Jurassic Park, and it feels it's almost has like Predator vibes to it, right? Like it's just people who are hunting something that is smarter and a better hunter than they are. That was not alien, but like genetically made by humans, and because like, again, the shock factor of like, oh look, there's dinosaurs is gone. You can't just walk into a plane full of long necks and play a John Williams score anymore, because that's been done. So what is happening next? Where do they go? And this reminds me of those movies I used to premiere on the Sci-Fi Channel like every couple weeks. Like this is kind of what that reminds me of a little bit.
It was so funny because all you're doing is waiting for, it's like a slasher film. Who are the dinosaurs going to pick off next? Which one of the hunters or mercenaries are they going to pick off? And the fact that the two stars are the only ones that are probably not, that those are two are safe. Scarlett Johansson, she's not going to get killed. Okay, we know that. So, Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Please keep him alive, because we need him around for Blade. So yeah, just don't, outside of that, everybody else is just ancillary meat like that. And it just goes, it's so funny because you mentioned Predators. Tonight, Adrian Brody might actually win the Oscar for The Brutalist. It's so funny because remember, he was earlier in his career, much earlier, 20 years ago. He was the winner for The Pianist, but his career took a downside, and he was just like going to any paycheck movie he can. And if you remember, one of them was the Predators, where they were
Yeah.
all on that. Yeah, I saw that. I got my oil changed once, and some work car done on the muffler and whatnot. And I went to a dollar theater like right down the street one day, and I saw it. I'm thinking to myself, is this where Adrian Brody's career has gone? Because he was just trying to get any job for a long time, wherever, and he's just rebuilt his career back up. And whatever happens tonight is obviously a pinnacle of that. But yeah, it's just so funny with Jurassic Park. I agree. I agree with you. It's not looking great, but that big opening weekend should tell everybody exactly where if the Jurassic um, Park world, whatever, still has any meat left on the bones.
Yeah, Xbox Game Studio. To answer your question, man, like I'm gonna not answer your question. Sorry, I'm gonna go see it for sure, but it does not look amazing by any means. And it's funny because the concept of the mutant dinosaur, remember that was the original pitch for the Lost World Jurassic Park, and then the studio looked at it, and I think Spielberg too looked at him, and they were like, "Oh, this is hot garbage. So let's go back to just like having people run from dinosaurs." And here we are, 20 years later, with this concept is back, and they actually made it.
They're running out of ideas. They're running out of ways to extend it. I think they should have given it a rest, this IP a rest for like 5-7 years before you go back to it. But
that was fast. It was a fast turnaround.
Yeah, it's all about money. It's all about money, my friend. But then again, Chris Pratt, he goes from that to the one coming up on Netflix later this month, where he's, with the dinosaur vehicles, it's what the machines and all that, as far as in the future. Yeah, machines versus humans war and all that. Yeah, that's with Millie Bobby Brown. So yeah,
oh,
that
that's right.
Yeah, that's what's going to be coming out later this month. I forget what it's called, but I'm sure we'll be covering it on the show. So just I'll have a memory of it at that point in time. We'll see, but I'll catch it on Netflix when it gets out there. But yeah, I know you wanted to catch up some other things as well, right?
Okay, I got two more things for you. One, Captain America, the new one. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I put a full review on it. Spoiler review. TJ Johnson and I did a full spoiler review on it a couple weeks back.
Okay, talk to me.
He liked it. Yeah. By the way, Gundam. Don't forget Gundam's in theaters. By the way.
Yes, I know. We're I can't tell anyone. We're gonna go see it on Tuesday. I'm taking my kids. They don't know yet.
Good. All right. Very good. You never let me down. When it's certain IPs, you never let me down.
I know. I'm excited because it's you don't often get to see, because they go back and they play the original trilogy in theater like every year, but you don't often get to see like new stuff on the screen. So between that, and I know there's the Demon Slayer movie comes out this year. I know there's a Jujutsu Kaisen one. I think anime might rule 2025. Man, we don't. Who knows?
The thing is, will it not be front loaded? With anime films, they're always front loaded. Theater owners already know they only need to carry them 2 weeks. If an anime actually has legs, then that's what I want to see. That's really what I want to see.
Most of the movies we see are like a few episodes packed into one. Like there's not often do you get to see like an actual full-length anime film in theaters. They don't do that anymore for some reason, but we'll see what happens.
But I will tell you, my friend, I did see it. I did say it in great detail with spoilers a couple weeks back. Xbox has actually already seen it himself. I know there's a lot of other people that have commented on it. I've gotten some feedback on it as well. I didn't like it as much. I gave it around a 5.5, I think, if memory serves me correct. It's on the lower end. And actually, I already posted, if you go to popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, I have updated my Marvel Cinematic Universe to include that aspect, that film of already. And let's just say it's not rather high on it, but TJ liked it. My daughter liked it. I thought Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford really tried. It was just the stuff around it just didn't quite mix. The Red Hulk battle was really nice to see, but I wish the action scenes were really good. It's when they got out of the action scenes that really fell off the map, and it does have the worst post-credit scene in Marvel's history.
No, no.
Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. So, yeah.
Okay, last thing I got for you. Venom saved
You
the
haven't
last.
seen it yet, though, have you?
I have not. No, so I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance to see it in theaters. I might have to wait till it streams. But Venom: The Last Dance has danced its way onto Netflix. Did you check it out at all?
Yeah. Sony just, yeah. I'm just, again, just like Craven, just like I've never been a big fan of the Venoms. I like the Tom Hardy Venom mix. Their tit for tat is something that I hope stays within the confines of the MCU going forward, but no more movies with them. The stories around them, just like what I talked about with Captain America, it's just they're not good. They're not good to me. I never was really high on them in the first place, but I could see the allure. But this is going to be the last one, not just because of the title, just because it just doesn't generate any more money. It doesn't generate the worldwide dollars that it once did. It went from a $700-800 million franchise to now that one that, if it's lucky to do even 3 or 4. So I think it's done at this point in time, and I'm really glad it did. But yeah, this one it got really tired really quickly for me.
Okay, so the first one I liked. I really enjoyed the first
I know
one.
you did. I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it was great. But you were really liking it, and then it went off a deep cliff for
The
me.
second one was pretty terrible.
Sorry, Woody Harrelson.
They had like a golden opportunity to have Venom in the MCU, and they blew it. Like that. Why did they even do that?
Yeah, I don't know why that post scene was there. I really don't. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
the
just
third
Sony.
one
It's just Sony being Sony. It's Sony being Sony.
Yeah, right. Look what we can do. So the third one I'm really torn on because I really liked it up until like the last 30 minutes of the movie. Like it entertained me. I didn't Okay, let me rephrase that. I didn't really like it, but it entertained me. And you got that, like, you're like, oh, it's so sad because Venom and Eddie Brock are gonna be going their separate ways. Obviously, it was a real, like, they were going for that Logan feel, and I was like, this is kind of hitting me in the feels a little bit. And I love what's his name? Was it Jonathan Rhys Meyers' character? He was pretty funny, but what was really irritating to me is that they had Noel featured in there, and they didn't do anything with him. Like, they were obviously trying to build up to something that will never happen now. Yeah. So they took so many, like, if you could take the first like half of the movie and then redo the second half, like, it could be a pretty decent film. Yeah. But the fact that they had that bad guy, like, it's like they built up to something that's never going to happen. Like, they got these really cool shoes on, but nowhere to go with it now. So, yeah, I don't know. That really bummed me out. Like, because like I said, like, it was good. Most of the movie was good, and then it wasn't. So, I really don't know who watched that and was like, oh, this is okay. We should definitely put this out.
Again, they're just trying to, another case, just like we saw or see with Universal upcoming with Jurassic, that this was Sony trying to cash in one last time. It's just that simple. And with one of the only viable Spider-Verse things that they've done that's successful, because everything else has just absolutely sucked. And they've literally blown it. And for those characters like Kraven Hunter, Madam Web, just Morbius, all those characters with terrible movie after terrible movie after terrible movie, they've ruined it. Those characters probably can't come back for another 5-10 years with any validity now because of what happened. So
yeah, and you know what's crazy too is that Spider-Woman could have been a very successful franchise. And because they tied her to Madam Web and Madam Web sank, it will probably never happen.
Yeah. just right there.
Yeah.
But don't get me started. Between that, Warner Brothers and all the stuff that they're doing as far as closing game studios,
Oh my
they
goodness,
shut
yeah.
down the Wonder Woman game. The Monolith, which made Shadow of Mordor to high
Nemesis.
acclaim. I think it was Game of the Year it came out.
Yep.
And yeah, that's they're gone. So yeah, Warner Brothers doing a lot of its IP, doing away with a lot of its IP. Just yeah, all these studios are not really doing good right now, and just it is what it is for my friend. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very, very disappointing to see. But it is, of course, right here. There's other things to talk about at the pop culture cosmos, but yes, my friend, Gundam, yes, you must do. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you've renewed my faith in you, my friend. You've been a huge Gundam fan for years. One of the first things I knew that you were a fan of outside of Spider-Man was Gundam, and I'm glad to see that you're still sticking to it. Indeed.
You know what's cool about this though? This is, I don't know if you know, but this the studio the studio that made Evangelion shut down, right? Like they're no more. I forget what the Anna something or other. But yeah, they actually have been working on this Gundam project for the animators have been working on this Gundam project for a long time. And when you look at the character models on the screen, you can tell that they were made by the Evangelion people just because of like the way the robots are shaped. Like you took the armor off of the RX-78, it looks just like one of the Evangelion machines. So I'm excited because those are my two favorite things merging together.
Once again, it is the Pop Culture Cosmos. It is Gerald Glassford, along with my good friend. He is the man of myth, the legend himself, Josh the Great Peterson. Congratulations to Kieran Culkin and Zoe Saldana for her role as Best Supporting Actress, Emilia Perez, and Kieran Culkin for Best Supporting Actor in A Real Pain. They're the first big winners of the night, plus also Honora is winning a lot of the technical awards as well, which is very interesting. Best editing for that, and also original screenplay. So I have a feeling Honora's going to take home the big prize. Just saying, but we'll see. Again, we will give you updates as it happens. But my friend, on to our conversation at hand. Monster Hunter Wilds has dropped. Okay, February was one of the biggest volume gaming months in recent memory, my friend. I think, could you go way back before the pandemic, as far as maybe 2019, 2018, about this high volume of quality releases in a month, my friend?
No, I mean 2017 is probably the last time I remember. This was the year Mario Odyssey came out, had quite a few
Somewhere
games.
Brank is high-fiving himself.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but that's probably the most recent one in my memory I can think of.
One of the best years, but not the best year in gaming. But go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely like this year, like we started to see a lot of games flowing in last year, but this year has been, if February is any indication of what the rest of the year looks like, we're going to have quite a few things to play by the time the holidays get here. And we don't even know like what those summer gaming conferences haven't even happened yet. So we don't even know what, Microsoft and Sony and even Nintendo are going to be putting out by the time the year's over. So I am excited. I have not finished Avowed. My daughter was playing it. She actually is farther than me. She was enjoying it. I want to get to Pirate Yakuza.
I'm about 5 hours in myself. So.
Okay, are you still digging it?
I have a lot. I'm having a blast. I'm just doing stuff, going around. If I'm going into story, I am. If I'm not, I'm not. I just wander around. Me and Kai. Kai's probably pissed off at me right now. Kai is your companion, just to let everyone know in Avowed. Kai is pretty ticked at me right now because I just go and randomly there's a cliff I can climb. There might be a nice treasure chest up there. I think I'll go that way instead of the main quest line instead.
Yeah, and he's always cautioning you, right? I wouldn't trust that person.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so funny because I'm still here. I'm still thinking Garrick in my mind from Mass Effect because that's the same voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
But Monster Hunter Wilds has come out probably this month of all the games that come out with Avowed, um, Yakuza like a pirate in Hawaii, Civ 7, all the games that came out, all the big name games that come out, Monster Hunter Wilds probably at the end of the day will be the most commercially successful. It was reported within the past couple days that almost 1.5 million concurrent players on Steam. It has been a big success, and obviously Nintendo Switch. It might be one of the last big titles, big releases for Nintendo Switch. Your thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds, my friend? I know it's something that the Super BS Gamescast crew is going to be talking about here in the not too distant future. Uh, it's something that I've never really enjoyed my time in Monster Hunters, or at least I'm not saying not enjoy. It's not connected with me, my friend. It's not connected with me whenever I played it. I'm not sure I'm going to ever get my hands on Wilds, but that doesn't mean a lot of other people aren't doing the same.
Yeah, I played the last Monster Hunter game for a little bit. Those games are tough for me because I don't like playing. I'm not a very social person, so I don't like playing things with other people. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what Monster Hunter is all about, right? It's teaming up with people and taking down giant monsters. It has never been a franchise that has really appealed to me that much, but I do know a lot of people who have really enjoyed their time with it and are really big fans of those games. So that being said, like I understand why people like it, and this game has gotten pretty stellar reviews. So they must be doing something right. And I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm curious enough to get it and play it. What are you?
It does have the best score of a game this year at 90 out of
Mhm.
100 on Metacritic. So, and it has got over 82 critic reviews. So that's pretty much what it's going to stay at. So it is going to be a game of the year candidate. So it is something that, despite again my apprehension of getting back into Monster Hunter Wilds or Monster Hunter period, that is not deterring anyone else, nor should it, because it is very highly claimed and has become very successful. This is a big win
Yeah.
right now. So yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing them. But PC is one really taking up most notable on it, and it's again out on all platforms: Xbox Series X, PS5, PC. I believe it's on Nintendo Switch as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't see why that Metacritic doesn't have a thing for it, but yeah, I thought it was Nintendo Switch as well. But again, my friend, it's just telling me that Monster Hunter Wilds, the success for this game going forward, I don't see it stopping anytime soon for Monster Hunter. We now have to consider it a big time AAA IP if you didn't already.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I don't know. The last Capcom game I played was the Devil May Cry 5, I think, and
Mm,
it's pretty cool. They're good at making action games, and I think for all intents and purposes, Monster Hunter is an action franchise.
absolutely. So what everyone out there is seeing right now, it is of course one of the biggest success stories so far early on in 2025, if not the biggest in gaming. It is Monster Hunter Wilds. You could say right now, because it probably sold more in dollar amounts than any other entertainment property outside of Ne Zha 2, which we'll talk about at the end of the show here. But it has become a huge success. Again, 1.5 million players almost concurrently playing on PC, and that's just the PC version. But again, PC, Xbox, and I believe Nintendo Switch as well. So if you want to go ahead and check out what everybody's talking about with Monster Hunter Wilds, please go ahead and give it a chance. And if you can, please let us know what you thought of this highly acclaimed, highly successful game, Monster Hunter Wilds. We want to hear your thoughts, of course, right here, Pop Culture Cosmos at yahoo.com. My friend, 1.5 hour down, 1.5 hour to go here on the show. Truly appreciate everyone joining us. It is the Pop Culture Cosmos. Josh the Great Peterson, along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. Wanted to mention something to you. I know you're not huge into pro wrestling, but you are familiar with two crossover stars in John Cena and The Rock. And leading up into their latest pay-per-view, the pay-per-view before WrestleMania is Elimination Chamber. It took place yesterday as we're recording this in Toronto in front of almost 40,000 fans. Leading up to it, The Rock approached the WWE champion Cody Rhodes. saying he wants to get an answer. He wants to own Cody Rhodes' soul. And I was like, what the hell is this all about? He's not the Undertaker. What's all this garbage about?
Writing's
And
gone so downhill, man.
yeah, exactly. But actually, no. They're on Netflix now. It's gotten pretty good ratings. They're selling out more times than not. So, and of course, at the dollar amount, they're huge at the gates right now. So, box office wise, but I'm like, what does The Rock really want with Cody Rhodes? So, at the end of the pay per view, where in the last and final match, John Cena earned the right to go ahead and face off against Cody Rhodes. John Cena is coming back for one last year. He's till the end of this year. He said he's going to retire at the end of this year. Now, in pro wrestling, usually that's a fallacy. They usually don't. But I'm going to say, since he said it publicly and is going through the motions, that this will be his final year. But he does get one last main event WrestleMania match that he earned against Cody Rhodes coming up here in Las Vegas in April. So if that's the case, at the end of the show, John Cena, The Rock came out and approached Cody Rhodes, the champion, and said, "Do you have an answer? Will you be my champion?" And Cody Rhodes, in a rare moment where they did not bleep it, told him, "F you." The whole,
Okay.
and everybody got the big reaction. Everybody's clapping, and John Cena's behind, just yeah, that's great, because John Cena was still in the ring after he won his match.
Yeah.
Everything's great, fine and dandy. John Cena said, "You know what? I'm going to go into this match, final match with you, final big match at WrestleMania with you, and one-on-one competitor, blah, 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 blah." So they gave each other a hug, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, with The Rock standing there. And by the way, Travis Scott was also there, rap star Travis Scott.
Of course.
People are still trying to figure out why Travis Scott was just standing there, why he's. I think WWE just loves this affiliation with celebrities and superstars like that, so he just had to be there. So okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm glad it makes sense to you, because it made no sense to no one else, because he did nothing really during this. But anyways, as John Cena and Cody Rhodes were hugging, The Rock gives the throat slash sign. And all of a sudden you see the happy face of John Cena grow serious and dark. And something many people have been asking for over, I want to say 15 years, because I think the last time John Cena was a bad guy was in 2004 or 5, I think. Memory serves. It's been a while. So he turns to Cody. They end their embrace. He kicks him in the groin, and they proceed, both of them, to beat on him for like 10 minutes. Cody does a juice job on his head, produces blood, whatnot. And then they walk out, and they're together as a duo, basking in the haze of the booze and whatnot. So I wanted to ask you this, as someone who's a casual individual who watched back in the day, doesn't watch it now, but watched back in the day, but is obviously knows who The Rock is and John Cena, now that both have transitioned very successfully into other mediums and other genres, i.e. the entertainment world, yet both still want to retain some kind of footing in their professional wrestling home. So I'm asking you, my friend, after hearing this, after seeing how both have gone seemingly to the dark side, your thoughts on John Cena and The Rock in 2025 still playing a major focus in the WWE, despite all the things that they're doing on the side, Peacemaker, The Rock's movies, John Cena's movies, etc., all the things they're doing aside, they're still wanting to go ahead and become major players and be major players in the industry that they grew up on, and now doing it as bad guys.
It's funny you say that, because I was actually thinking about how John Cena, I think one time he said he never wants to be part of anything with The Rock. So it seems like
there was actual out of real life friction there, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, but
funny how time and age does things.
Time and age and money, man. Money talks. But I don't know. I always thought that was cool, the fact that The Rock continues to go back to WWE to do guest matches and things like that.
He
John
was
Cena.
a headliner. He was a headliner one of the days last year at WrestleMania as a bad guy as well, as kind of a leading bad guy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember being a kid, like, and watching him on WWF his Monday Night Raw and Thursday Night SmackDown. Like, that was right when he's breaking into acting with the Scorpion King or the Mummy Returns, and like he was the people's champion, man, and now he's the people's villain. But I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, man. I would love to see them team up on a project outside of the ring too, like a buddy comedy of sorts.
I would like to see that as well. I think a lot of people would. If I'll tell you what, if they have a tag team match together, maybe later this year, maybe not, because it probably won't be at WrestleMania, and it works out well, maybe that will spark the rumors of them working outside of the ring at some point in time together. But I just wanted to bring that up because, again, it is 2025. And even though it is the WWE, it likes to lean on newer, younger stars or fresher faces that are
Yeah,
there throughout the year. They will still, and smartly for the most part, utilize and use those superstars that can only be there on an infrequent basis, like The Rock and John Cena, but
yeah,
still utilize them in ways and positions that can draw the company money. And with the ticket prices now at really high levels, in fact, I was talking on the show last week with John Orlando, my good friend that we do the State of Pro Wrestling. And I just don't want to see myself spending $400 to $800 for 1 or 2 nights at Allegiant Stadium. That's on the other side of town here to go see it. And but now with John Cena turning bad guy, whatnot, sparking this interest, I think a lot of people are going to want to go see it. There's rumors that there's already about 40,000 seats tickets sold on each night. So I mean, those a lot of people are going to be able to want to see it now. A lot of people are now interested in it, and obviously because the fact that those two are superstars, they get a lot of mainstream media. That's what I think the WWE always tries to do. It always wants to trend on social media. It always wants to reach out to other entities outside of itself. It's always trying to embrace ESPN because it always wants to go ahead and latch on to the general consumer and not just the hardcore base.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And they do a pretty good job of sticking to that market.
That they do, my friend, that they do. So I just wanted to mention that to you. It is 2025. It is not 2005, but just 20 years later, The Rock and John Cena are still major parts of storytelling for the World Wrestling Entertainment's future, at least short term future, coming up here as they're getting into WrestleMania season and WrestleMania coming up in April here in Las Vegas. So, if out there, if you have any thoughts on what you wanted to go ahead and see with John Cena and The Rock, more embracing more of the dark side of themselves in this storyline telling as they face off against Cody Rhodes and battle for his soul, the battle be his champion, etc., etc. We want to hear your thoughts. Please let us know if you're liking all this. It's one of the biggest, I guess, backstabbings, the biggest turns in recent memory. Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, before we head on out, I wanted to have a major discussion with you on Daredevil Born Again. Something I know which you are excited to go ahead and see upcoming because it's coming out here later this week as we're talking about it. I will have to squeeze it in with Severance, the latest episode coming up later this week as well, but I will. And actually, they're going to do something different. I think they're going to release in threes each week, 3 new episodes each week.
See, that'd be great. That's one of those shows you can't just watch one episode of. You need to be able to tune into multiples.
So I ask you, my friend, Daredevil, and the reason why I think this is really important for Marvel, I understand it doesn't play in the overarching very much into the Doctor Doom, Secret Wars, multiverse stuff, blah 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 blah, that they're playing out on the big screen. But they need a success. They need a huge success at Marvel right now. And Captain America, whatever you think about it, whenever you watch it, whatever my daughter, whatever TJ Johnson, whatever anyone else thinks about it, it is not a commercial success. It is something that at best, at best, will probably break even for the studio at best. Because right now it's on gear between probably $400 to $500 million worldwide, and that's for a Captain America movie that's not great. So Daredevil needs to give Marvel a hit at this point in time, and it was supposed to be originally 22 episodes. They did 6 or 7 episodes. Kevin Feige's watched them and didn't like it, so they went back to the drawing board. They redid them again, and they're only doing I think 12 this time around. Whatnot, and I said they're doing it in groups of 3. Your thoughts, my friend, on Daredevil? I could be wrong on the number of episodes, but I do know they're doing it in groups of 3. Your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again? How important is this for Marvel to have a success in Daredevil?
I think it's really important actually, because Daredevil is like, okay, so this is the first time they're bringing the continuing one of the Netflix shows, right? And from what I understand, they want to do this. This is supposed to feature the Punisher and Jessica Jones, and they're also talking about wanting to bring back Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
Yeah, the Iron Fist one.
But they want Finn. What's his name?
Finn Jones.
Finn Jones. They want his character back, and so that
the character, yes.
The act. I mean, they want that iteration of him back. So whatever that means is whatever. But yeah. But so this is important though. This is important because this is Daredevil Born Again is the first time they're bringing the Netflix universe fully, like actually wrapping it into the MCU, and they have to do it well and they have to do it right. Otherwise, it is going to take people aren't going to believe in it. It's going to take a lot to get people to have faith in this particular move once again. But also Daredevil is one of like the most beloved, this iteration of Daredevil is one of the most beloved characters in the MCU right now. And right now it's also all they've really got going for him after having a string of like meh, So, and there's been so much hype. What is it? 6 or 7 years ago was the last Daredevil came out.
The one on Netflix, yeah, because this originated on Netflix, to let everybody know. Yes.
So they really have to pull this off, because otherwise there's a lot of people who are on the fence right now about Marvel, and a lot of people actually fallen off the wagon. And this show alone has the power to bring people back to Marvel. And if they blow it, it's not just going to lose those people for good, but it's probably going to lose a lot of other people too. And Marvel they're not in a place right now to make any missteps.
That was well said, my friend. That was very well said. I don't know how much more I can add onto it, because I agree with everything that you said. This is very important that they do this right, because especially from a TV standpoint, it has been bad. I mean, it has been really, really bad. So, I mean, with that, my friend, it's just Echo was not good. Secret Invasion was not good. So I'm asking you, my friend, when it comes to Daredevil, before I get into something else, something I wanted to add on, which we forgot to talk about or got to mention before we went on the show. What are your thoughts on exactly how good Daredevil you think it will be?
I think it's going to be good. I don't know if we talked about this on the show already, but if you look at it, it has what made the Netflix one so special was that it was very gritty. It was made like a crime drama. Like what was that movie Collateral with Tom Cruise? Yeah. It was filmed kind of the same like cinematography,
Michael Mann style.
Yeah. So it was filmed like that. And granted, like you couldn't, because the story's trying to tell it, it couldn't be that style the entire show through, but it had that feel like it felt like it was a street level production. Watching the new trailer though, you see it's got that Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney production budget. So either it's going to take away from what it originally looked like and people aren't going to like that, or it's going to make it better. And it's really hard to say. I know early reviews are coming in and they're pretty positive, but I am seeing a lot of characters from things gone from seasons past, and it's been so long, and I'm sitting thinking like, who are these people? I don't remember most of them. I know there's like Bullseye, Typhoid Mary, who else? There's a few others in there, but it's I don't know, it looks good, man. It's shaping up to be something good. And after his like more comedic play he had in Spider-Man No Way Home, it's going to be interesting to see how exactly they tie everything together. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm like, and this is one of those things where like if it doesn't end up being good and I'm this excited about it, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to any love I have left for the MCU.
Before we head on out, my friend, before we talk about Ne Zha, which is going over the $2 billion mark here, it's been a huge success in China. I wanted to go ahead and mention one last thing I forgot to mention to you beforehand, and that is the forced retiring, or retiring on her own because she's 71, of Kathleen Kennedy at Star Wars. And this brings me back to something you had wanted to talk to. You had talked about what the future of Star Wars was, and you and I have gone back and forth on this, mostly agreeing that about what direction is it going into. We've seen many highs and lows for this chapter since the purchase by Disney. Most of it lows in many ways. Just saying that out there. There have been some highs. Your thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy leaving? I know a lot of people are rejoicing today, or at this point in time when she did it, last week, in regards to her leaving. Your thoughts on the future of Star Wars with Kathleen Kennedy now leaving at the end of this year?
Okay, I'll say something controversial here. Kathleen Kennedy, not everything that she did has been bad, right? Like there's definitely
Yeah.
been some okay places in the Jurassic Park, not Jurassic Park, sorry,
Star Wars.
the Star Wars universe. I know she casted Jurassic Park. That she casted actually most of the movies from when I was a kid, like in the 90s. Like
Yeah.
she casted a lot of those. But that being said, though, she definitely did not do anything with Star Wars to make it better and to bring a new generation of fans into it, because they're still feeding off old storylines because they're afraid of what's going to happen if they depart from that with the galactic, the Skywalker era. And she definitely has said a lot of controversial things over the years that probably didn't need to be said. And everyone's allowed to have their own thoughts and opinions, but she created a lot of she talks a lot about the toxicity of the Star Wars fandom, but she actually caused a lot of it with a lot of her comments to the press and things that she said on social media and stuff. So yeah, I mean, her time with it has not been all bad, but also like I feel like with her gone, it could actually go in a much bigger and better direction.
I have a feeling that that's going to be the case as well, but I really think they need to get out of the Skywalker saga. I need
Oh
again,
my
we've
gosh.
talked about this before. We need to get away from this. We need to evolve beyond this. We need to go into a galaxy far, far away from the Skywalkers. 100, 200, 300 years in the future, whatever, or just a different part of this galaxy. But we need, the thing is, okay, that the Star Wars Skywalker saga has embraced and garnered fans from all around the world for decades.
Yeah.
But the one thing it really hasn't done a great job of is embracing new fans outside of Rey. I know that a lot of young girls did enjoy her work, but it really hasn't embraced a whole generation like it did back in 1977 or 87 or even 97 to that extent. And what this Star Wars needs to do now is create a whole new universe so that's not built for you and I. It's built for the younger audiences so that they, as kids, can grow up and have their own Star Wars universe
Yeah.
that they can share with their children. I mean, of course, we'll be along for the ride, but it's something that is supposed to be or should be geared more towards them as opposed to us. And as long as we still are going ahead and staying within this Star Wars Skywalker universe, it's always going to be tied to us. So it's always going to be guys, ladies, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s still determining the outlook for Star Wars being a success when they really need to focus on the younger generations, the generations that going forward will help sustain Star Wars for decades to come.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. We need to get out of the Skywalker saga. We have like it doesn't make sense for them to keep making movies for a generation that's getting older. They need to make movies for a generation that's going to be growing into the franchise and not a generation that's slowly fading out of it. So yeah, I agree. And until they're able to do that, like it doesn't matter who's in charge, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, whoever they want to put there, it doesn't matter who's there until they do start making moves like this and start thinking about the next what 10 20 years of Star Wars instead of what the past 10 or 20 years of Star Wars has been.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something where we need to see something on the screen. I don't want to say not meant for us, but not meant for us, Josh. It's meant for your kids.
Yeah.
Even my kids at 17 and 19 are on the tail end of that mix. But your kids, especially, you have kids under 10 years old that at the time I was 8 years old when the first movie came about. That's who it needs to reach.
Yeah.
Is that demographic, right? That age group right now. It needs to reach the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds for them to go ahead and get into it. I didn't get into it until, I saw it on CBS back in, I think, a year before or so it came out, Empire Strikes Back came out. But I told you my story started in 1980. My real love for this franchise started in 1980 when I was 11 years old. It hit me right in the button right there. Perfect timing. And that's what Star Wars needs to do. It needs to create a whole new universe that adapts and relates and really gets embraced by kids of that era so that it can build beyond it going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree with you. And that's what needs to happen. I mean, especially like if you look at Disneyland, right? Disneyland's still everything they have is centered around the Skywalker saga. So how long is it going to be until like a kid walks in there and like, what in the world is a lightsaber? Like, what is any of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Kathleen Kennedy at the head of Star Wars since the sale of Disney buying out from George Lucas the IP. She has decided to retire, or is it Disney forcing her out, or so? I don't know. Again, she'll be leaving at the end of the year. You can determine what it may. Although at 71, I would hopefully, if I had all the millions that she probably has, I would probably want to think about retiring myself at that point in time. But again, we don't know behind the scenes what's going on fully. Maybe we will. Maybe at some point we won't. But we'll find out exactly what's going on with Star Wars in the future with her only to the end of this year and going forward. Will Dave Filoni or some other name that might be out there become the new head of Star Wars? We'll find out. But what's the direction of Star Wars that you wanted to go in? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and ask you your thoughts on Ne Zha 2. Ne Zha 2, I know that, again, it's not playing in too many theaters here in this country, but it really doesn't need to because that film, which is a sequel to one of the most popular animated movies in China, has now become the most popular, financially successful animated movie of all time, my friend, because it has reached the status beyond any animated film ever in around the world, and it's already exceeded $2 billion globally. It does not look like it's going to stop anytime soon. There is a chance it could become the most popular film of all time. I think it should. I think if it has another 2 or 3 strong weeks, I think we need to have this conversation again. Your thoughts, my friend, on Ne Zha 2, a based off of Chinese culture, something that again that scores and scores of fans are seeing in China, really populating it. China was having a really, really bad time in the past year to almost a year and a half in regards to the box office, but no more because Ne Zha 2 goes over $2 billion, my friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really have no idea about anything with this movie, but over $2 billion is quite a bit. So has this been released domestically?
Yes, you can see it. It's in a limited number of theaters, about 1,000 theaters, I think, around the country here. But it is something if you can go out of your way to see. So
Okay, yeah. I mean, this looks interesting. $2 billion is quite a bit, though. So I mean, with that kind of money, yeah, I would sit down and watch it just because I'm curious, like what all the hype's about. So it's NEZHA. That's how you spell it. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it could be. I'd want to know what all the hype is about. I'd watch it purely for that. But do you have any plans to check it out? And yeah, that's $2 billion is a lot, man. Like we haven't seen a movie cross that mark in several years.
except outside the Avatar.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the
Avatar
one
sequel.
James Cameron keeps re-releasing.
Yeah, well, the Avatar sequel. The Avatar sequel
Oh,
also
did it?
went
Oh,
over.
I didn't know it
Yes,
crossed. But
I think it
yeah.
did 2-1, 2-2. But yes, it did also reach over that mark. But yeah, I don't. If it gets to streaming, I probably will see it, and just to appreciate the fact about whatever part of Chinese culture this comes from, and realize why it has become so successful. Because I want to understand why it is as huge a hit as it is, especially over what the original one did. So
Right.
I'm interested to see what has resonated with this film with this audience. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, it is Ne Zha 2. It has reached $2 billion at the worldwide box office. So if you have thoughts on Ne Zha 2, something you want to see, something you want to talk about, please let us know your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. My friend, before we head on out, a couple things for you. Dune Part 2, winner of Best Visual Effects and Best Sound, which would have been a crime if it didn't win either of those, I guess, awards. Documentary short is The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Documentary feature, No Other Land. Again, we talked about who won for Best Supporting Actor and Actress. Original song is Amal from Emilia Perez. I didn't know if it was going to win anything based off the controversy there. Wicked is won for Best Production Design. Yeah, just all the good stuff. Film editing for Nora. Makeup and hairstyles for The Substance. Yay, Substance. Yay, Dune. Adapted screenplay is Conclave. Original screenplay is Honora. All the stuff that's going out, it's leading up to the big thing, but we won't have time to go ahead and talk about it tonight. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
No. I mean, I'm sorry. I've been behind on the movie scene this year, so I don't know much about any of these titles. So I might have to see the awards going out and then sit down and check some of these out.
The answer is Dune Part 2, my friend. That should be the answer. Always. Yes.
I've seen that one, man. Did that come out this year? That was a 2024 movie, huh?
Yeah, it was. So
Okay.
absolutely. But it is, of course, what's going on with the Academy Awards. Please go ahead and check out our thoughts here. And then also as well, go ahead and check out the results on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook as well. My friend, it's been a great episode. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No, it's been good to be back though. Good to be talking some pop culture, and we'll talk again on the Super BS this week.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.